about one of the requirements for my first seminar class, and it was related to what career I'm going to do in the future.
Okay.
I chose you because you are one of the best professors that I know who work in the industry and general aviation specifically. I prepared some questions regarding this career and about your experiences. First question is, what led you to pursue aircraft maintenance?
Well, my dad was a pilot in the Air Force, and then he was also a pilot in the airlines. And of course, you know that I have a problem with my leg, so I couldn't go in the military, and it's hard for me to fly. Even though I've flown quite a few airplanes as well, but as a profession, it was hard for me to become a pilot. So the next closest thing I could be around airplanes was a mechanic, and so that's why I chose it. And I love it. It's a blast.
How long have you been working
Since 1990, or 91, rather, 91. But I've actually been teaching it more than I actually worked on it. I've been teaching it since 2000.
It should engage into the
I love teaching. I really do.
That's great. What made you decide to do or work on general instead of commercial aviation?
Now, of course, this is just my opinion. In commercial heavy jets, you do one job, or maybe two or three, over and over and over, always doing the same thing over and over and over. Eventually, you learn new jobs. You'll get to go to short schools where they teach you about hydraulic systems, for example. And so when you come back, now you're qualified to work on the hydraulics. And then maybe a year or two later, you get to do the air conditioning. But in general aviation, day one, you're doing everything. I mean, everything. My first day on the job, my boss said, go over and 100-hour that airplane over there. It's like, this is my first day. He goes, well, if you can't do it, we don't need you. So, okay, I got it. We're good. And I've been doing it ever since. And it's just, you never know from one day to the next what you're going to be doing. We had a plane come, unfortunately had to belly in. Good pilot, the gear wouldn't come down, so he bellied it in. We didn't know. Come into work that day, here's a plane sitting in hangars, like, what's up with that? We're fixing it. Excellent. Yeah, so you never know what you're doing from one day to the next. That's why I like it. And a lot of times when you finish the job, you go fly. Well, let's go see if it works. All right.
So you also fly in the airplane after?
No, I don't have a pilot's license, but normally the mechanic who worked on it goes to fly with the owner of the airplane. The owner thinks, okay, if the pilot won't go with me, if the mechanic won't go with me, why would I trust what he did? So it's like, I'm going, let's go. I'll go anytime you want to.
What areas of this profession are you most interested in?
I enjoy the engines, the power plant, more than anything. And I hate to admit it, but it's because I'm better at it. I can do sheet metal. I'm pretty good at it, but it's a lot of banging and noise. Sticking on that. Give me the engine. It's quieter when you're working on it. Well, I can hear my radio, play my music. But no, I really like the engines a lot.
What kind of environment do you work in? Are there difficulties you encounter as a mechanic? What are those?
As far as environmental, when you're working in any aviation industry, whether it's general aviation, heavy jets, it doesn't matter, you have to deal with the elements. Hangar doors are very typically open a lot. So if it's freezing cold outside and you're in the hangar and someone opens the hangar door, well, that freezing cold's coming in and it's not going to get warm for a while, even after they close it. So you just have to work around that. And so those kind of things are not the most enjoyable. But they're short-lived, so I guess not that big a deal.
What are the benefits of having this job?
Well, now in heavy jets, if you work for an airlines, one of their most excellent benefits is you fly for free. Yeah, I had a friend of mine that he worked for one of the airlines. I forget which one it was, And every weekend at 5 o'clock on Friday, he got off work. He didn't leave the airport. He had his bags packed and he went and got on one of the planes and flew to Florida and spent the weekend on the beach and came back on Sunday, so he's back to work on Monday morning. Every weekend in the summer, that's what he did. And it didn't cost him a dime. I actually had to travel, not very far, because general aviation, it's more localized. But I worked out in Nashville, and I had to go to Knoxville a time or two. I had to go down to Mississippi once, so very localized. So it's not as fun in the flying part as working for the airlines, where you get to go fly for free and stuff. But I still enjoy the flying too. So that's one of the benefits. They usually have really good health benefits, retirement benefits as well. And the people, some of the best people you would ever want to work with.
So what is the difference between salary range of being an aircraft mechanic for commercial and aircraft mechanic?
There is actually quite a bit of difference. General aviation, again, depending on where you work, the area that you're at. Up here, you're going to start out at $12 to $15 an hour. Okay, but in the airlines, you're going to start out in this area $22, $23 an hour, and you can work your way up to as high as $35 to $40 an hour. Where in general aviation, you would probably work 10 years and still only be around $20 an hour. But there are other benefits to that as well. In heavy jets, the next step up from the A&P is the IA, which is inspection authorization. Well, in heavy jets, it's really not necessary. Guys can go get it if they want to, but it's really not required. It doesn't help you get a better pay or a better job in heavy jets, but it does in general aviation. So in general aviation, when you get your inspection authorization, now you can do side jobs. And these are short side jobs. So on a weekend, you could make $1,500 in about 6 hours. So there's that side of it as well. You see what I mean? So you may be making a little bit less money, but it's more fun, in my opinion. Okay? The job is not so mundane, the same thing over and over and over. And you get to do side stuff that they pay you really well for. If you're good enough, you got to be good enough. So there are benefits to both sides.
What certification do you have to get to become an aviation mechanic? Do you take exams?
Well, all you have to have is the certificate of completion. And there are basically 3 ways to get that. You can go to an A&P school like we have here. You could actually work in a hangar under the supervision of somebody for about 3 years. And that would qualify you to get the certificate. It's not a certificate of completion at that point, but it's very similar. It's called the 8610-2 form that comes from the FAA. Okay, or you come out of the military. The military, they work on airplanes, they work on jets, helicopters. So for them, they can use that experience also to get either the airframe certification or the power plant certification, or both, depending on what training they got while they were in the military.
What other opportunities can I get on being a mechanic at the workplace?
NASCAR hires a lot of A&P mechanics. They do sheet metal and they have engines, and they're very particular about how those sheet metal goes together, how to repair it, how to work on the engines, very particular. So they like having A&Ps who have those kind of skills. People who work on escalators, ATM machines, anything that's got intricately small parts that takes a lot of work to get into and troubleshoot and figure out how it works. A lot of them, they see that A&P, if they understand what it is, that puts them at the top of the list a lot of times.
My last question is, what advice can you give to aspiring aircraft mechanics?
If you're in a school, pay attention to everything. Everything that we tell you is for a reason, and you will use one day. Take opportunities to learn. Even once you get in the industry, take opportunities to learn. If your boss comes up and says, hey, do you want to go to air conditioning school? Yes, sir. Right now, let's go. Don't ever turn anything down. Use every opportunity that you can to learn more. Pay attention to detail. The smallest little thing can bring an airplane down. The smallest little thing. And it's not that lives are lost as much as your conscience. How would you feel if you forgot to put a washer on and that nut backed off and that plane crashed and killed all of these people? Okay? First you took all these lives because one little detail that you missed. But your conscience too, you won't be able to live with yourself. So pay attention to detail.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.